Before I begin, this entire presentation is not meant to discredit the legitimacy of live-action film. Rather, it is intended to create more widespread watching of animation. So, to begin, let's imagine a situation that you may experience every day. You sit at home, you just came home from school or work, and you want to watch a show. Let's see what's on. We have The Office, Breaking Bad. This is a pretty good show, I would say. It's a little bit too dramatic right now. I want to really relax. It's in the middle of a season story arc, and I want to relax a bit more. What do we got? We got How I Met Your Mother. That's a pretty good sitcom, if a little long-winded in Ted Mosby's story. However, let's see what else is on. Ooh, what else is on? What do we got? We have. What is this? This is for kids. This is not entertainment. What else? Oh Lord! That's not. Get that off my screen. Oh. Okay, this I can get behind. Now, what's up with those three? Why did I just reject them? It's because they are animation. We automatically associate animation with children. That is how we are hardwired. Well, not exactly hardwired, but we associate it with children. What is animation exactly? It is the movement of pictures. It is moving pictures. That is what it is. When you think about it, it makes sense to assume that an animated project takes less time and effort to make than live action. Think about it. You don't need your actors. You don't need them to memorize lines. You have voice actors speaking into a microphone. Sets don't need to be set up. It would take less imagination because sets, they don't need to be individually painted and set up for each scene in a movie. However, cost-wise, a professionally done animated commercial can cost at least $2,000 to make, as opposed to the cost of around $750 to $1,000 for a live-action commercial. And although it is very subjective, it does take tons of animation to create the entire environment of an animated film and to color it and animate it, get the voice actors to get exactly the right voices. I would know all this because I did some very basic animation involving just a simple stick figure. I used a program called Pivot some years ago, and I can tell you, it was not easy. To animate a simple walking animation, it took me nearly half an hour of analyzing my own walks and trying to transmit that into 10 frames per second of walking. Now, to fully understand and get how much imagination it can take to create truly good animation, I have a video clip here taken from a movie called Interstellar 5555. It is a Japanese-styled anime. I'll get more on that later. It's interesting. It's set entirely to Daft Punk's album Discovery. There is no dialogue. And, well, here's one of the songs, Digital Love. Got right to the middle of it. And this is an example of a very well done animation with distinct moods and rhythms. Now, could you really do this in live action? It would probably cost a lot. It would be very expensive for the CGI and whatnot. And it's very beautiful. You wouldn't be able to do this in live action without many hours than it would take to do this. Now,
Put it down.
Due to these misconceptions and stereotypes associating animation with children or otherwise, it does not get watched nearly enough. Out of the top 50 top-rated shows of all time on IMDb, only 9 were animated. Only 4 movies out of the top 25 grossing movies of the last decade, that's 2000 to 2009, were animated, which I found on filmgo.net. and only 20% of only 20% of movies in 2012 were animated. Each one of those scenarios, there's only 20% of animation in there, which I think is too low. 20%, that's pretty low. It's about the amount of actual news stories in a Fox News program. Animation isn't watched because of these misconceptions and stereotypes. However, there is one more glaring reason why it isn't included in our daily routines of TV or movie watching. All of the aforementioned top-rated TV shows and movies are either comedic in nature, such as The Simpsons or Family Guy or South Park. They're either comedic in that nature or they are made for children, specifically targeted for children. There is an oversaturation of these comedic or children-targeted shows and movies. 5 of the 9 aforementioned IMDb shows were children or comedic, and all of the top-grossing films I mentioned were for children. Because of this, there is very little need for an actual emotional tie to these animated films. It also doesn't help that you're not interacting directly with an actual person. You're interacting with a person or a figure on screen. Not enough animation is watched. That's why you gotta watch it. To fix this low number and make it rise, we have to realize that animation is truly a viable outlet for small-time screenwriters and directors to realize their dreams of making a successful media video. Some things like what I showed you in that clip are simply not viable to recreate in live action, and it allows for a different style of comedy. I'm sure we've all seen as a kid the very comedic shows where the cartoonish character would have their eyes pop out or something. And while it is true that there are very little choices in terms of dramatic, actual, emotionally tied, adult-themed animation, there are still very good shows and movies that are animated. No, stop, don't. Seriously, don't.
Let's go away.
Now we get to the fun part. I'm going to recommend some shows to you that we can use to fix this. What do we have first? Seriously, we got Adventure Time. This is targeted for kids. It's on Cartoon Network, but it's excellent in terms of style, and it oozes adult-themed humor. It tells a story of Finn and Jake, a person and a dog, who go on an adventurous time through what is supposedly post-apocalyptic America. What else have we got? We got Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. These are sequel series. Korra comes after The Last Airbender. This is probably the best animated feature I've seen in terms of, show I've seen in terms of drama and adult themes, humor. It's a very well done show. It is targeted towards kids, of course. It's on Nickelodeon, but regardless, it's very good. What else? Let me sidestep here. The Japanese have fully integrated animation into their daily routines of watching things. Some may argue that they like it a bit too much. However, there are still very, very good adult-themed shows made possibly for adults. That's debatable, but one of the few I've watched. I don't watch much anime, as it's called. One of the ones I've watched is Full Metal Alchemist. I was forced to watch it with a friend. I liked it. It still has that Japanese culture to it, but it's very well done. And finally, this last one is very you don't have to follow me on this one, but My Little Pony. I'm not going to go too far into depth into this one. This is, of course, made for kids, but it is very, very well done show. I would recommend it, but I should probably be more specific. It's not the old My Little Pony. It is the new My Little Pony from 10,000 2010 on. It's you only want to watch it. Dang it!
Question and answer.
Good job. Now you can inside those. Sorry, there was
Sorry to interrupt you.
Mike Troy's a certain sideways.
I can't believe I went over time.
Peggy and Estony and Miranda Muller.